The World Cup is starting on Thursday, 11 June 2026. The last World Cup, obviously, Bafana Bafana played eight, was the 2010 FIFA World Cup. Again, the starting date was 11 June. It's like FIFA is up to something there. But the interesting match everyone is waiting for, especially in Southern Africa or in South Africa, is South Africa playing the opening match against Mexico. I mean, Mexico is a team that is playing at home in front of 100,000 strong crowd. I've got Pratike, guys. I'm happy that he has joined us, and I appreciate it because I was watching the episode we did.
Look, I mean, firstly, thanks for your invite, man, for your invitation. Thanks to your viewers once again. Interesting times indeed. Like I said, this is about the World Cup. This is about, about football lovers. This is about our nation, about our continent. So if I can avail myself so that we can have a nice conversation, why not? I'm a football lover. I've loved football all my life. I've followed football all my life. Yeah, it's an honor, my brother. If I can make some contribution to your platform, I would do it anytime.
No. Thank you so much, Pratike. I appreciate that so much. Pratike, Bafana gonna play. I think before we go even to the match, obviously we're gonna look at how Bafana will silence Mexico on Thursday. Before we go there, the venue. Please tell me about the venue. What do you know about Azteca Stadium? What is it that comes in your mind when you think Bafana gonna go there on Saturday? Thursday?
Iconic, man. Next stadium. As a football fundi, football follower, football lover, I would have, followed superstars at a young age. Maradona is one of them. The hand of God, where he acted as if it's a header, but by his hand was in that stadium. It's that stadium that would have hosted two World Cups, two ceremonies of the World Cup. In 1970, 1986, again hosting Bafana, the return with Mexico. I mean, that gives you the history of that stadium because no other stadium has ever hosted the ceremony twice. No other stadium has ever played the World Cup twice. No other stadium after on Thursday would have seen what is going to happen to the Mexicans in their hundreds of thousands. So it is a motivation for our players for them to write their history or their names in the history of football. Not football in South Africa, but football in the world, football in Africa. It's actually expected to be the most opening watched game ever in the World Cup. That's how big this game is. These young people are going to be watched. The game is going to be so big. No football or no sporting code would ever reach the level of which this game is going to be at. So it is a motivation on its own. Young people from South Africa, from different corners of our country, from Tembisa, Hluhluwe, Sebokeng, Trashville, Free State, they must raise their hands. It is their time. Bafana Eldos, they must raise their hands in that iconic stadium and say we want to be counted amongst the legends of football, even if it's just for this game. And I think we have the character, the boys have characters of doing that, just the core of our team, Mamelodi Sundowns and Pirates. Look at how those young people fought in Morocco. Mokoena was a marvel to watch. The young man, I call him Iniesta. He reminds me with this big heart, how he sprays the passes in that final game. Was amazing, The save from Williams in that big, crazy stadium in the final, last game, last kick. So I believe we've got young people and these young players that we have, they've got a character to go and work hard there, but we will honestly depend on the coach and his tactics. This is one game that I think it's not only about skills, but it's about waiting for the right time. It's about managing the game well. It's about encouraging the boys to fight. It's about not early conceding. So how you put your team together will be important. But yeah, I wish I could be there watching this game. I won't lie to you. But yeah, we'll all be sitting in our TVs watching this game. And I want to urge all South Africans, we need to honor these young people. We need to honor this team of players and its coach and Safa. Because I know most of the time we like being critical to Safa even when they do right things. Because, of course, there's nothing as easy as to blame a person. When you have done so much, you get blamed. When you don't do, you get blamed. That's how life is. They've done very well. They got a coach who had views about him. He changed the team. we are in the World Cup, qualified clean. When was the last time we did that? I'm not talking about 2010. I mean, as a football lover, it was painful. Finding ourselves where we are, I'm very much encouraged and happy as a South African. So these young people need to be honored when they sing that national anthem. We must sing with them on the day. Amadoda athuthi igqoko, take your heads off as men. And respect this bunch of warriors who are going to represent our country as footballers, because they've done great for our country and they've done great for us. They are bringing a smile. With this petrol going high every day, at least we're going to have a very good, I think, and I hope, Thursday night as we watch our Warriors fight against the Mexicans in Mexico in the iconic stadium.
Yeah, no, but it sounded intimidating what you said. For me, more like I feel like scared. When you're speaking about that kind of iconic stadium, then it sounds intimidating. That, of course, what you just said is going to be the most watched World Cup and also is the biggest World Cup ever, from 32 teams to 48. Previously, World Cup has had 66 matches. This one is going to be the only World Cup or the first World Cup with 104 matches. Yeah, we can only wish Bafana Bafana the best. Of course, we do believe that Bafana Bafana, there's no pressure that they cannot hang it. They've shown us previously, especially against Algeria at Nelson Mandela Stadium, when she scored in that 2-2 all draw. And I think it's possible for Bafana Bafana just to revenge for what happened in 2010 World Cup when Mexico stopped South Africa or made South Africa become the only country ever not to, a first host not to win their opening game. So yeah, I want us to look at the lineup, how Bafana Bafana will fare against Mexico. With the goalkeepers, Pratike, for me, on my side, we've got Chain and Williams, obviously, I expect him to start, and then the other goalkeeper, it's Gos. Who do you think should start there? And do you think there's a chance of the coach doing a surprise, or is gonna continue sticking to Williams?
Hey, maybe Gos. No, I'm joking, man. I think without a doubt, Williams is one of the greatest number ones we've ever had since Bafana Bafana started, since 1994, 92. I think I rate him as in the top two with Arense. The difference will be very, very minimal. Winning the leagues, Arense would have won 1996. The young men would have won the Champions League. And the difference, the biggest challenge with generations, everybody believes their generation is the best, Nobody looks at how technical football has been, how defenders have been transformed, or rather strikers and midfielders have been transformed to being defenders, how quick they think today, how they can play with their feet vis-a-vis how they could play with their feet before. So everybody wants to believe, in my generation, we were the best, only to find out that, of course you did very well. We respected you, but it was a growth of a sport. We're part of a transition. I mean, even if you go to scientists, they'll always tell you the next generation will always be clever than your generation. I'm not talking about a kid that is spoiled. Typically, that's how it is, because they're more advanced, they are quicker, That's why records get broken by the younger ones. Players now are quicker. So yes, I respect and I believe I would want to see Williams as number one because he's proven himself. If he doesn't do well in 2-3 games, you know how South Africans are. We've got views, beautiful country. That's our way of doing things. But no one can ever dispute Williams' record and what he would have achieved over time. And I think he's our number one without a doubt.
Kaizer Chiefs fans will say you're being controversial if you're saying you're putting Williams and Arendse in the top two. They will ask, where is Itumeleng Khune?
No, look, Ito is one of the greatest. I mean, the best distributor of the ball, without a doubt. But the reality is that his generation failed to reach the World Cup. So he has never been tested at that level. And his generation was difficult for you to even reach the Africa Cup of Nations. I'm just talking facts. Without a doubt, but I'm saying, has he ever been tested at the Champions League level? This young man has been. This young man is going to the World Cup, tested twice in the Africa Cup of Nations, won the Champions League, won the league 8 times, or even 6 times or 4 times on his own. So it took a lot from Khune as well. How you distribute a ball, the timing in penalties. Williams, I would say Khune would be number 2 of Arendse, even if there's no much you can say at an international level. Because at a club level, he achieved a lot, no doubt. But at the international level, he knows he didn't achieve close to what this young boy would have. So I would put Khune number 3, even above my guy, which is Brian. you know. But I'll put Kune because really he played his heart out. You could see just that his generation did not achieve what we thought they could. Even the 2010 World Cup they played, we know we were the hosts. I'm just saying, qualifying directly twice for Africa Cup of Nations, playing 3 finals, league, winning the Champions League. Come on, my guy. But of course, Williams should learn both from Arense and from Kune. And I think he has. I think he has molded his game on those two goalkeepers. Watching him play, I'm convinced that's what he has done.
It's very interesting that you put Kune in the top 3. In my top 4, Kune is not there because of, I remember the last time Kune won it derby against Pirates was in August 2011. When Pirates will play Chiefs, you will know that Pirates will win. The worst they can do is a draw. So I feel Kune has never been really tested. One, Bafana failed to qualify when Pitso was a coach. He was the number 1 goalkeeper. Immediately, Senzo Meyiwa, when Kune was injured, Senzo Meyiwa became a goalkeeper for Bafana. Under Shakes Mashaba, Senzo Meyiwa took Bafana to qualify. I'll put Arense, I'll put Williams, I'll put Onyango. Monep Josephs
Onyango?
also played at a higher level for 3 different decades in the 90s, 2000 and 2013s. Yeah, Mzansi's number 1. I don't think Kune did what I think was a very good goalkeeper for Chiefs against mid-table teams, but competing at a higher level in high-profile matches, Kune was always struggling. I think we'll have to agree with that. Yeah.
Nadim, where we differ is that you are speaking about the PSL. I'm speaking about the international level. You see the difference? I'm saying I'm not speaking about the PSL. That's why when you raise Onyango, when you raise the Cat, they never played for South Africa international level. Onyango is not a South African. I'm just talking about, unless we were talking overall PSL goalkeepers, then we would have that.
I'll still put Kune behind the Senzo Meyiwa, yeah. Even though Senzo Meyiwa played only 7 games for Bafana, I think he did
But
so
that's
much.
not fair. That's not fair. That's
The
not
problem with Kune is one thing. Bafana never qualified to anything with Kune as a goalkeeper. Nothing. Never
Yeah, but he
qualified
was-
for AFCON. Never qualified for any tournament. That is my problem. And he was always number 1. He had so many caps. He was always playing. But Bafana will dance. And after dancing, we'll hear
I
Bafana is
know.
not qualified. For me,
Look.
that is my problem. I'll put even guys like Brian Baloy, the different guys who played Hans Vonk ahead of Kune, because I feel Kune never really qualified Bafana for any tournament. For me, I think he's a Kaizer Chiefs legend, but Bafana in the national team, I think he's struggling.
I think the young man was not lucky at the international level, but he was a fairly good goalkeeper. And I still believe Williams on ball distribution, without a doubt, he has learned a lot from that guy, because nobody could do that thing. And you could see after him, Williams immediately took over. And that's a very critical part of football, by the way. A goalkeeper who can't distribute today's in South African way of playing really does not deserve to play in the national team, because it means we'll lack a very critical aspect of our game, which is playing from the back, and our build-ups, they come from the back. I think let's agree. We put Williams is number 1 on Thursday. Any other thing we can debate about later on. But yeah, for me, the 2 goalkeepers that have done it for Bafana is Arends and Williams. And I don't want to put one against another. Generations will fight me, but I'm a firm favorite of Williams as a goalkeeper.
Indeed, Williams is the reason, obvious. Pratik Bafana qualified to the World Cup, was playing in all the games. The reason Bafana qualified for the past 2 AFCON. The reason Bafana nearly went to the final of the AFCON. Williams, he has to start on Thursday. We agree he's going to start. Then we're going to the right back. I don't think there's a disagreement there. Khuliso Mtau is going to play. Interesting one. Mtau, obviously, someone might say you're joking, but you're telling the truth, because he caused a penalty against Egypt.
Yeah.
And now there's VAR in one game in the World Cup. I heard like there will be like 50 cameras following each and every player, following. So there's no, immediately you just do any funny thing, it's a penalty. So he needs to be careful, obviously. You punch someone in the face, is a straight penalty. And then going to the center back, I think that's an entertaining position, because we've got 4 center backs. The Orlando Pirates captain, Nkosinathi Sibisi, and then you've got Bogazi, former Buccaneer, and Ime Okon. I think people were not aware of him up until Andrew Rense said he must play for Bafana. We all know his father is a Nigerian, but mother South African. He decided to choose to play for South Africa. Then we've got Oluwethu Makhanya. I think it's his first ever tournament with Bafana Bafana. He's been sidelined. He's playing in the US. But obviously, he's a player that has been playing at a high level in the MLS for a while now. Who do you go with there in the two centre backs?
Right, left centre back Mbogazi, TLB, number one voted MLS player to play in the All-Star. I hate Messi. Yeah, that's crazy. I hate Messi. He's got more votes. I hate Messi in the LMS. So of all the players that are playing there, when people voted, they voted for Ipotlel. So the young man is making big name for himself, I mean. But also he deserves it. A young man from Shushuwe, emfano nesibindi, emfano uthi angihlulwe enye indoda, you know. So I would put him there as number one. I think any sober coach in the world, in many teams, of the 50 teams that are playing there, I'm sure there's only 3 left central defenders that can make him sit down. It's just my view, you know. Only 3 of the 48 teams. The others, he will make them sit down. The right central midfielder, tactics, you know. For me, it's about tactics. If the team is slow, play aerial balls, need a physique, I will definitely bring in an Akun because it's about strength, it's about punching. If it's Czech Republic, I would say Akun come. It's about tactics, really, so that you try and defend the set pieces. I think Makanya Akun has that. If the team is quick, though, they can play the ball on the feet, and you're going to need the speed both at the back. Because what I like about Bogazi, he's got a bit of speed, he's aggressive, he's skillful, he can pass the ball. He's a complete defender. And there's very few defenders who are like Mbogazi. And it doesn't mean he is as good on aerial balls. That's the only part which I think he needs to work on, even in the LMS. That's what I've seen. So you just need to use tactics. And I think if the team is speed, you'll have to look at Makanya, his timing, because sometimes you don't need everybody to run, but you need a person who's able to read the game and do the right interceptions, and the person who can be able to break defenders with one pass, especially in a game that we are going to play, because we will need such people. We will need the Muremi speed, we would need Belevele speed for me in the left and right offensive attackers. So you need a very clinical pass off the ball just to break that midfield of Mexico, which will be coming at us like a ton of bricks, especially the first 20 minutes. We hold them there with those guys, we will surprise them. So yes, I think between the two, but you know, speed, Makanya, aggression, outcome with Akun, depending on players' profile.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because Mexico is very scary, offensive. They've got this Raul Jimenez, plays for Fulham, played for Benfica, played for Atletico Madrid. So it's one of those, is their trustee going forward. In Mexico, they've been scoring a lot of goals. So for experience, maybe I'll go with Mbogazi on my side and Oluwethu Makhanya. I think he's an elite defender. He's an elite. And what you said about Mbogazi, I was shocked that he's in the number 1 MLS voted player. That just shows that if you are talented, you are talented. Exactly 2 years ago, we didn't know who Mbogazi was. We're talking about the player in the MLS who's voted number 1. For me, I think Pirates, that was a great discovery there. And then on the left side, there's a problem there. Why I'm saying there's a problem. Our number 1 left back didn't play the CAF Champions League final, the second leg. Yes, he scored the cracker in the first leg because of an injury. He missed the 2 friendlies. Do you think the coach should risk him, or we just put a cross or cabin and see how it goes?
I don't think the coach would have taken the risk of taking him there if he was injured. I think he's been analyzed. The doctors would have looked at him. He's our best number taking without a doubt, especially if we play Mbogazi to cover, and we've got good players to cover him, as we know. And we will need that left side to attack. In my view, that left side is going to be very dangerous, especially if Muremi really gains his form quicker, because we need him to put on his scoring boots. We need him to look, you know, those crosses that are critical. We need him to do that. So I don't think the coach would have taken that decision unless he was Yamil Yamal. A coach would say, I wouldn't even risk him to play him in the last game because I know we can qualify. We need him on that game. If not, I'd put in Kabini. But my first left defender, without a doubt, is to put Brisco or Diba is himself. I think it's his game. He has proven that once again He's a player of big games. I mean, look at the big games he would have played this year. I mean, look how he killed Orlando Pirates in that very tense game. That's just that pass, that kills Belebele. Look at how he killed this team. I mean, the boy is a proven number 3, best number 3. We know his weaknesses. We can't say them anymore, but we know the coach will find a way of protecting those weaknesses.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting with Modiba. How good is he defensively? Because offensively is deadly. We all know that. But what you need that? Are you going all out attack? If you go all out attack, you need him to start. But what if you are too defensive? Do you still trust Modiba to be doing that? When he's tested so much, he can also be under pressure. What's your take on that? A proper defensive number 3 is not my number 1. I will not put him because I think number 3 in an offensive attack is the best.
Depending on your formation, what type of midfield are you going to play? Are you going to play with number 10? Or if you're not going to play with number 10, what type of a striker are you going to use? Mark from the front? What type of team have you profiled the team you're playing? So I would, without a doubt, say if we play with speedy players to try and break them on the counters, because for me, Mexico will have to counter them. If we want to match them pound for pound, we might get hurt. We might want to match them pound for pound later in the game. But at the beginning, contain them. You can play Modiba because he can play those passes that will come from the side. Because sometimes bringing a defender that just can just defense but can't give you a champagne pass, a defense splitting pass, just that one pass that will make your wingers get an advantage is also might be as useless as putting a person that you don't necessarily so every player has got his own disadvantages and advantages, because who are your ball passers from the back? For me, is Modiba, is Mbogazi, as much as it passes diagonal passes, which are good, but Modiba can be able to do what Relay can do, defense splitting passes. A defender like that is rare. A passing between the lines, that young man can do that. And I think as much as I agree with you, we go and defend, but we also need to find an opportunity to score. And how do we create those opportunities in South Africa? We know we create them mostly from the middle and the back. So I would prefer him, but I also understand and I hear what you are saying. If a coach was to take a different decision on the basis of who are playing, I'd also understand. For instance, he was to say against Czech, it's a tough game. I don't need Modiba. I would understand. I need taller players. I need people who can head the ball. I need defenders that can just make sure that we survive this game and get out of here 1-1 or 0-0 against Czech. I would take that.
Yeah, interesting one. I think against Mexico, you don't need Modiba simply because this team is very deadly. How they've been playing, their results is scary. Beat Mexico. They beat Serbia 5-1 in their last game on Friday. Then they beat Australia 1-0. Then they beat Ghana 2-0. They've been winning almost every game they played. Drew with Belgium 1-1, draw with Portugal 0-0. So I think you need a play defender, defensively very sound. Offensively, we'll see in set pieces or counter attack. But that's not your best bet. Solid first, be strong defensively. I think you need to
Is
go with a
Gabini
player
that strong though? Is Gabini that strong as a defender?
I think he's not better than Modiba with experience. Remember, Gabini is unproven. So I think we're
Exactly.
lacking there because we took
So who
Cross.
do you have? If you
Never. I can't put Cross. I thought Cross is also another highly unproven.
So then you don't have a choice but to put Modiba, because you have 3 left defenders. Unless you change the.
I put a center back. I can put 2 center backs. 1 center back as a left back who's left-footed. And CBC, I think, has been doing very well at Orlando Pirates as a left center back. I would rather have him than at least I know basic. He's gonna stick to basics, man marking, than a defender that I know one is coming from an injury, missed the last 2 matches, has not played any of the last practice matches. I would rather put CBC as a left back because already Pirates is playing as a left center back. Then Mbogazi and Imeokon or Makanya central. I will not risk Modiba because I don't know. Imagine, Pratike, you put Modiba after 5 minutes is injured. You see now, it's like you need to put someone else. I think it will be highly risky unless you are sure 100%, unless you are sure that is fully fit. Yeah. No, we saw it. I watch the game bits and pieces. I watch it Newsroom Africa. Yes. Newsroom Africa had the footage. I saw the goal. So I think Bafana, I'm not happy to say this, Pratike didn't play well against Jamaica. The coach said he's disappointed, rightfully so. No, it wasn't. It was Kabin. Yeah, it was Kabin. It was Kabin. Okay, let's move on to the two holding midfielders. Obviously, who do you go for? Obvious number 6 and 8. So who do you think is the best player between the two? I will go with the best player. Who do you think is the best number 8 between Mbata and Adams? For me, on my side, is an easy choice. I go with Jaden Adams. You know why? Played the final of the Champions League. It's been a revelation since he came back in the Sundowns team. Mkwena obviously is undroppable. I will go with Mkwena and Jaden Adams simply because they have that kind of understanding. As Pratike was saying, Mbata is very good offensively with shooting long range shots. That's why I agree with Pratike there, where with the long range shots with Mbata. Besides, Mbata is a same player who nearly took Pirates last year to the final of the Champions League, and it's been brilliant. I think it's the most underrated footballer in South Africa. Simply because no one is talking about him winning the football of the season. I will say it's underrated for that. When Pirates are not there, Pirates look like Pirates from Orlando, but when it's there, they look like Orlando Pirates. So that is the difference with him when he's there. I think even winning the league, all these trophies, they're not winning it without Mbata in the team. So I think the coach will decide
Yes.
there. Do you go with Mbata or Adams? On the right side, the left side, I think is easy, Pratike. Who do you put on the right side? Because on the right side, it is Belebele.
It's a difficult one. And I know many people might say it's not, but for me, it's very difficult. Left hand, Muremi, no doubt. My problem with that left hand is does he have an alternative? It's the only thing that is a sore point for me, because unless you is not performing, you put relay there for whatever reason, I don't know, On the right side, a police is explosive, but don't undermine Spelebele there. Don't undermine Spelebele at your own risk. Spelebele is proving himself in that position to be a personal open space who runs quicker than most probably is the number 2 fastest player in that Bafana team after Muremi. You might want speed, but accuracy, ball positioning, dribbling, hard, a police.
Yeah, Apollos, I think, is the best player, one of the experienced. I think he's grown with the national team from not being a starter in the
Goal
previous.
scorer, proven goal scoring.
Yeah.
But one thing I like about Apollos, you can move him from left and right. You can put him in the center. He can play double 10. He can play. So once again, I would slightly choose Apollos. But I'm saying to you, Mutau and Spelebele provides you with a solid right which can defend and attack at the same time. If one is up, one can be back. If one is back, one can be up. But do they give you enough attacking power? I don't know, but they give you a very balanced right side, but I don't think the coach can ever pick Sibelebele ahead of Apollos. I think it's going to be a tough one depending on his tactics.
Yeah, it will be a tough one. You can pick him ahead of Apollos when it's very clear. I want to be very defensively. Maybe if it's 0-0, then 68th minute, I can unleash Apollos, because if he wants to be really defensively, I think he can start with Sibelebele on the right side, because they can help Mutau and drift back and help the midfielder. Because the good thing about defensive with Sibelebele, this guy never gets tired. He runs 90 minutes. So I think for that stamina, it won't be a surprise if he chooses Sibelebele. Obviously, it's expected that he'll play Apollos. So, but playing a tough team that is so strong, Mexico, and at home to an iconic stadium, one will think the coach will be defensive minded. Honestly speaking.
He has to be.
Because in the last game, this guy is the 1-5-1 against Serbia, and Serbia is not a small country.
But you must also follow the games that they would have played, ne? Like us, they would have played some games with because a lot of players are back, they're at home, and I mean, look at the Nigerian team that played the last time. It was a B team, literally. So one of the analysts from Mexico was actually analyzing the team that Mexico has been playing. Like us, they've not been playing the top teams.
Their strongest team, Portugal and Belgium. I checked the lineup of Portugal. It was their strongest. one would say it was their strong team. If you look at the players like Stanik, Simic, Stankovic, the goalkeeper, I think it was their most experienced team. Then when you go to the team that they played against Portugal, or for me, with Belgium, they drew 1-1 Mexico. And then that's what scares me a lot because Belgium is one of the teams with the most talent in this World Cup. And if you look at the kind of team that they played for Belgium, you look at the goalkeeper plays for Nottingham Forest. The last season was one of the best goalkeeper in England. Then you look at the Wetzel, Telemans, De Bruyne, Openda. Then you realize it's a strong Belgium. So even if you look at the bench, the players who came in, it's still not like players that are unknown for Belgium. I honestly think it's been Mexico played a very, very strong Belgium. Even their goalkeeper, the Manchester United goalkeeper, was on the bench. If you look at the Manchester, then Munia, Andrew Onana from Aston Villa, one would say they played the best Belgium team when they drew 1-1. I think they were tested there against Belgium because I think through watching the Premier League and also watching the European leagues, most of the Belgian players, because it's a team that is full of superstars, we know who they are. And then we also go to Portugal, the team that they played against Portugal, Mexico. You feel that it also played a lot of quality players in the Portuguese national team, to be honest, because immediately when you go to the Portuguese national team, with the Portuguese national team, basically, you see Ramos from Bruno Fernandes, then you see Mendes. Again, it tells you one thing, it's a strong Portuguese national team.
Who wants to get injured 2 weeks, a week before the start of the tournament? I'm just saying the intensity of the game is also not the same. But I agree. They've played strong teams. It gives them confidence, but they are in for a taking.
Yeah. No, it's possible. In football, it's possible. It doesn't matter because if you look at the previous AFCON where Bafana beat Morocco, no one expected that. It was a shock. So it is possible that Bafana can do well. Okay, we'll move on to the left side. Who started there? Moremi?
There's
We'll
no
stick
other
with
player.
Moremi.
Who's there? It's only him.
Yeah, on the left committed. I think he made a mistake that we can agree by leaving Matthews because Moremi has not been at his best at Orlando Pirates.
Yes.
The injury.
But you could not have left him. He's your proven number left. Remember, football is like this. Is like sometimes you good, sometimes you don't leave
No,
a
I'm not
person
saying
because
leave him. I'm not saying leave him, but what you do, you remove one of the defenders.
you take Matthews.
And put Matthews. Yeah.
Look, Moremi is alone there for me.
Yeah, he's alone. He's gonna play. And then number 10, the coach said he sees Relay as number 10, not as a left winger. Then you've got Mshish, Mamelodi Sundowns Champions League winning captain. So you go with Relay or experience, you go with.
I would go with the Relay, but the coach talks about protecting Relay. I don't know. He might be playing his cards closer to his chest. I would go with Relay. I'll bring him Mshishi later. Mshishi has not played a lot of game time. He can't give you 60, 70 minutes at that high level. He can come in and give you something later on. I would start with the Relay. If they want to play number double 10, I'll play Relay and Apolis there. But that's what I'll do. Actually, I'll play Relay and Apolis as double number 10 so that they can both push. But I'll definitely start with Relay. There's no way I can start with Zwane. Not because Zwane is, somebody would say, I want that cool head. I want him. I'm saying put Relay at the center of it. Tell him to give you results. Let him go in the next 3 games. Let him go and prove. He is playing against his peers, by the way. A lot of young people are playing there. In Mexico, they've got a boy 17 years old who they believe is their superstar. I mean, we say 21-year-old must be protected. Of course, he must be. But I think he will be motivated by the fact that he's playing with his peers. And that might give him a spark.
Yeah, no, I think the coach must not protect Rilem Fokeng. He must play him. Themba Zwane. He has not really played much. We don't expect much. It will be unfair to even play Themba Zwane because if he doesn't play well, I think it's going to crush him because people will then go back. Why did you leave Tito? Yeah, the number 10 there, I think we're thin, only relying on Relay. And one will say Relay is not a proper number 10. Even at his club, he doesn't really play as a number 10 that most of the time. More like on the side of the wings, anyways. And then the last position is a striker. You go with who? Last 2 friendly matches, actually, to be honest, it started with Foster. Against Panama, it was Foster. And the last one in Nicaragua, Foster started. Even in this game, Foster scored against Jamaicans. So I think the coach will go with Laila Foster.
I don't think there's a choice. I don't think there's a choice. You can look for his choice, but it doesn't. And I know we always want, I mean, Ikram Reynas has not been played from his team. His form is not at the highest. But you need Ikram there for the element of surprise, to build his confidence. I'm sure he can give you something second, third game. Let him play last 20 minutes. Let him play. You know what I mean? But he's not, for me, he's not going to give you anything if you start with him. Or maybe he can, but I think given where we are, I'd start with Laila Foster. For different reasons, he can give you something on the reach. He's got experience. He's played with some of these players, like him or not. You know, sometimes you can hate me.
Yeah, interesting that one. Laila Foster starting as a main striker for Bafana Bafana. I think that is very interesting from Pratike. I have blind love for Evidence Mahopa. I will play Evidence Mahopa, not Foster. But same thing with Pirates. You start Mahopa, you don't win, you win the match. Even in the Bafana Bafana team that nearly went to the final of the AFCON, the guy that was playing there is Evidence Mahopa. Why I will go with Mahopa ahead of Foster. Mahopa also defensively tracks and help the team. I think he's more of an industrious player. And Bafana has been proven that it performs better when Mahopa is there compared to Foster. Even the game against Cameroon in the AFCON, the guy who came in and scored is Mahopa. It becomes a bit clinical when he's in the national team. 1 chances to score 1 goal.
For me, look, the coach has told you he's going to start with Foster, right? Just the build up and everything. He's going to start with him. And I think another thing that has really disadvantaged Mahopa, the last 10 games, the Orlando Pirates coach most probably played him 3-4 times, which was unfortunate, really. No, I think, make no mistake, I love Mbutuma, but I think that also disadvantaged. I mean, it's like the last 10 games or 6 games of the PSL where, you know, once you are starting from the bench, you play 10 minutes, you score 1 goal, you go back to the bench. It does have a negative impact on you. Both for Evidence and Reynas are disadvantaged by that. If you ask me before mid-season who was going to be my number 9, I would say Reynas with my eyes closed. But once you don't score goals as a striker, it knocks your confidence. And I'm not saying Lyle scores any goals, but I'm saying Lyle has that big heart that I don't know where he gets it from. People boo him, he still goes back. He plays like he was not booed. That's a big heart, my guy. Big scorers. I'm not saying Foster, it doesn't affect him. I mean, mentally at some point was affected. But Laila Foster, I rate him in terms of how he's able to drop and come back again, to drop. I mean, the boy has went down with his team. He came back with his team. There's views about him, but he keeps on showing up. A player like that, you can't just ignore him. Of course, he misses there, but he scores there. He does give you critical goals. I don't want to lie. Mahopa plays very well against big strikers. He suffers against skillful defenders who can be able to calculate him from far, close space, because he's not a good dribble off the ball. He needs to just shield and pass. You know what I mean? But against big defenders, for some reason, especially the ones who believe they are strong, can outjump them. Number 1. Number 2, he's able to turn quicker than them because they're bigger than him. But against defenders who are small, he tends to. So that's why I'm trying to answer your question. Why is Mahopa doing well in the Bafana? Because we play against bigger strikers than us. But the advantage of him, he can jump. He outjumps them and is able to turn and outpace them because big defenders cannot, many of them can run. So you can look at Mahopa. But I think if you don't play, you'll have to at all times, and depending the team you're playing, you need to build his confidence because he can become an element of surprise and he can do a lot for you.
Yeah, interesting that one. I think I'm reminding that in the last game at Orlando Amstel Arena, Bafana got a penalty against Nicaragua. Tembazane took the penalty, and then when people were expecting Shishi to score the penalty, he handed it to Foster. Foster missed the penalty, and then Itumele Nkune is saying the reason why Zwane gave the penalty to Foster is because Pirates fans, they were booing Mshish, and then Mshish ended up not taking the penalty and gave it to Foster. Then he feels that Pirates fans are causing problems. Orlando Pirates supporters are causing problems in the national team. So that's an interesting thing. if you look at who do you go with between Lila Foster and do our Pirates fans. So yeah, for me it's gonna be because also the confidence also rightfully say Renas has not been playing in the national team. Renas has not been starting at Sundowns. Leon has been the best. But Pirates, I think the coach prefers Mbutuma. Who I don't believe Mbutuma is better than Mahop. But again, one will say even Foster in England, he scored 3 goals the whole season. He's not been playing. He played for a relegated team. So I think the coach will have to pick Foster. But again, one will say not a clear favorite. Before we go there on the debate of like what's your take about Itumeleng Khune saying Orlando Pirates fans are causing problems in the Bafana Bafana?
I'm not a coward. I'll answer it.
Pratite is saying was not at the stadium, obviously, when against Nicaragua, So the incident is very simple. Bafana get a penalty. Mshishi is ready to take the penalty. While he's about to take the penalty, fans start booing him. Bafana fans, because no one was wearing a Pirates. And then those Bafana fans who boo Mshishi from taking the penalty because it wasn't Orlando Stadium. Then Itumeleng Khune, former Kaizer Chiefs captain, is saying Pirates fans, out of all the fans who were at the stadium, they are the one who booed Mshishi. To a point where Mshishi gave the ball to pause, and then he's saying Pirates fans are causing problems in the national team.
That is the case. I shouldn't believe that is the case. I think, maybe Kune, whenever he's at the Orlando Arena, he thinks Orlando Pirates. I wouldn't know. Or maybe he saw them. But where I agree with him is that we need to give our players support, the same support. Because in fact, he starts by saying when the ball was given to Mshishi, he was booed. And when the ball was given to Lila, he was booed. Unless he's suspecting that many people who were at the stadium are Orlando Pirates fans because they were playing at the Orlando Arena, which I don't believe that could have been the case. But where I fully agree with him, let's be patriotic, let's support all the players the same, and also be careful of statements that might not be necessarily true.
I just think those people who are wearing Bafana t-shirts, even if it's an Orlando Pirates stadium, I don't think Khune will have asked after the game who put which team do you support and all those kind of things. So I just thought Khune was a bit aggressive, unnecessary. So now we all unite behind the national team because we want Bafana to win. Obviously, we're not saying Bafana is going to win the World Cup. We know the World Cup is going to be won by either Spain, England, France, Portugal. Those are the countries that are favored statistically to win the World Cup. So we're not expecting Bafana to win the World Cup. So
people of Ronaldo, they want Portugal to win the World Cup.
Yeah, they do. They feel they have a chance, and I don't think they do have a chance. Of course, they've got quality players. This Bruno Fernandes. They've got soldiers. They've got a strong goalkeeper. That Diego Costa from Porto is very good. Nuno Mendes, the right back from PSG. The centre back Diaz from Man City. They do have a very strong team. To be honest, they can win the World Cup. Will they win it? I don't know. But for me, I've already picked a team like Spain to win the World Cup. Who do you think is going to win the World Cup? And the last question, as we wrap, your score prediction for Bafana versus Mexico
after the second games of the round robins. And I'll tell you why. Because sometimes a team can be looking good on the sheet. A team can even lose the first game and go on to win the World Cup. So I believe the second games, they always give you the character of the teams, the tactics of the coach, because you would have played two different teams that are from two different continents, including 3 different continents. So I always want to look at the team from that point of view. I don't want to look at the team as they are going to the World Cup on the paper. I want to see how do you play against Southern American countries? How do you play against Asian countries? How do you play against African countries? How do you play against European countries? After that, I'm able to say, I think this team is strong. I think because sometimes you get a Brazil that suffers against its own Southern American country because they play the same style. But the same country that gives Brazil problems lose against Germany 5-0. But Brazil then beats Germany 2-1. So that's very important. The form, the quality of players, the structure, the strategy of the coach will then guide us. So I wouldn't want to put my head on the block like the bookmakers you're talking about, the predictors. I do have 4 teams in my mind, but I still want to see them playing. Then I can come back with not one game though. I don't want to see Mexico against South Africa and then say it can win the World Cup. No.
On one game.
No.
Yeah.
You
Makes
can't,
sense, yeah.
unless you've not been following soccer for a long time, it's difficult to judge the World Cup on one game. When Brazil lost against France, I think in the round robin, they were killing everyone. And France was building, with Zidane and Thierry Henry and so they were building their team. By the time their team reaches quarterfinal, that's where you could see, even in that last 16, that this team is a balanced team. It has people who can run, a skillful player at the center dictates the game. It has a fighter in the center, good goalkeeper. But some of these people, you have not necessarily been exposed to them. There's a young player that you have not been exposed to who changes the team completely when he's on the field. So let's give them that chance and then go to predictions that can be able to take us forward.
Yeah, interesting take there. For me, it's very clear Spain is going to win the World Cup simply because Barcelona have been brilliant this season. Most of the players are from Barcelona. Arsenal has been brilliant. They won the league. Some of the key players are from Arsenal. I think the coach went with players who are really on form and who are young and hungry. I think Spain team is very, very dangerous. I think it's the most dangerous team in this tournament. I think it can finish any team. I don't think there's a team that can stand for Spain in 90 minutes. So I'm going with Spain to win the World Cup. And then with Mexico versus Bafana, a score prediction. I think people want your opinion there before we wrap.
I think 2-1. I think 2-1. It's going to be a close game. We'll win with an own goal. I don't believe Mexico will not score at home. But, we will need to really hold them for the first 20 minutes. And 25 minutes, hold them and start pushing them back at least till about 44th, 42nd minute. Defend again, go back with the same strategy. We can hit them. Because their fans will be frustrated. Having the whole country behind you with people who undermine South Africa like that, they'll frustrate their fans. Their fans will turn on them. They'll be frustrated. And then we start playing from critical minutes. Starting playing from the onset might be very dangerous because we'll expose ourselves, we'll expose our tactics. We must just knock the ball or look for spaces, defend well, let them be frustrated, make sure that, they don't go closer. They're not too offensive. Try and guard against the set pieces because we're not great at that at all. One thing that I think it's a generational curse of our soccer. I'm hoping that we would have broken that curse for this generation. Yeah, I think Bafana doesn't have an opportunity, and I think we can win this game by an odd goal.
Yeah, interesting take on your side, considering that Bafana has not won a game in 2026. Lost against Cameroon, lost against Panama, drew against Jamaica and Nicaragua, and you're still confident 2-1 is going to happen away from home.
Once again, soccer is not math. Actually, math is science. Your tactics must be right, but also when do you pick your form? It's very important. Sometimes at the time where you must pick, you drop. At the time where you people believe you have dropped, you pick. And I believe. And I'm a firm believer of these young people who have went to Mexico, man. I'm a firm believer of Bafana. And I think this is when they will peak. Generally, that's the spirit we have as South Africans. We peak when odds are against us. Do you think Nigeria would have believed they'll be watching us at home, playing in the World Cup with the superstars that they have? No one plays in Nigeria. It was actually Nda who was playing in Nigeria, and their goalkeeper who used to play for Chippa United. And if you profile those players, big leagues, but they are sitting at Buffalo. Even after they took 3 points from us from a mistake we would have done, we still qualify. So I think the peak is very important at all times. And so I think we'll peak at the right time. I think the Jamaican game that you watched is the last game which you were disappointed from this game. But don't expect them to play the cleanest of games against Mexico. Please expect them to play a safe game and expect them to come out of it victorious because they would have been safe. Not the best football that you expect from South Africa. Expect that later in the game for them to take that game to that level. From the 65th, 67th minute, 80th minute, that's when you'll see them. In fact, on both halves, they shouldn't want to go toe-to-toe. last 15 minutes they must take the game to the opponents. We play counter for the entire game. Last we start playing our game. We do the same thing second half. I think we can head Mexico. But if you are want to see Pian and Shushan from the onset, my guy.
I agree with most of the things you say. Bafana, it's possible they can beat Mexico. Once the game starts, I think Bafana, a team that have really performed away. They've got this level of guys like Mkwena. I think has been brilliant, even for Sundowns, going to silence a crowd in Morocco, beating
Yes.
Morocco again with Bafana. I will not go for 2-1, I'll go for 1-0, agreeing with you that a narrow win with
Yes.
evidence Mahopa scoring a header. It is possible. It's possible because there's a guy who said in 1950 when Uruguay beat Brazil in a World Cup final in Maracana 1-0. He said he's the only man who silenced Maracana. I think Mahopa can silence Mexico,
Yeah,
and
it's possible.
Bafana, as a result, can defy all the bookmakers, statistics. At the end of the day, Bafana, they can't do worse than they've done. They have not won the whole year. All the 6 matches they played, they failed to win. I think the first game can show us if Bafana doesn't do well, start to beat Mexico, I think they will lose all the games, honestly speaking. So I think it's very, very important to win the opening game, not the next match or the last match. Win the opening game, and then once you win the opening game, we are guaranteed to be in the last 32 as the third best, even if you lose. Pratike, I think it's been an interesting preview. That's our take, guys, on Bafana. We believe Bafana will do well against Mexico in the first match. Keep on subscribing. Join us next time.